Mr. Darcy?
Miss Bennet?
It's for research purposes, I promise. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Blue Lady Couture, and this video is the next in my current series that I am doing, which is creating some new pieces for both mine and Mr BLC's Regency wardrobe. So if you haven't already, do go and check out the first video where I'm making some new pieces for myself. In today's video in particular, I'm going to be focusing on some pieces for Mr BLC and making him a new shirt. Does already have a shirt, but I made it many years ago now, and it's time I made him a new one. I've certainly improved a lot in my sewing practice, so don't judge me when I show you his current shirt. Don't judge me on my sewing skills based on that, because I did make it many years ago, and it's one of those projects. It's kind of one of those base pieces that once he's got it on and it's underneath his waistcoat and his cravat and his jackets, the actual nitty-gritty sewing on it is not, it's not really noticeable, and it's perfectly wearable, so I've never rushed to make him a new one. So sewing shirts is one of those jobs that, yeah, I could probably, put it to the back of my pile. There's always a lot more exciting projects I could be working on, but I've decided that no, now he really needs just another shirt, because it's time for me to do that, and to have a second shirt as well as this current one. Just when you're at multi-day events, it's just a little bit nicer, isn't it? You want Mr BLC to be fresh as a daisy when he's out and about with me at events. So yes, that is my plan for today. So Regency shirts are very much that classic romantic era shirt, pirate shirt, poet shirt, whatever you want to call them. So it's a very basic white, often linen, but in this case I'm going to be using cotton bodice piece. There will be a front neck opening, which will fasten with a little button, and that will be hidden by cravat, and it has a soft collar, and it has the big poofy romantic sleeves. So if you want some hints and tips on making one of those kind of shirts, whether as a female or a male, it's one of those, it's a very much a unisex piece that you can get away with, and it looks great with lots of different modern as well as costuming outfits. So the first thing I'm going to do is make up a new pattern using the original shirt as a base, as a guide. So I'll mark around that onto paper and draw up a new pattern. Yeah, so as I said, do not judge me on the sewing quality on this particular piece. I am well aware it is not where I would want it to be these days. In particular, do not look at the neckline. It's quite shocking. But yes, I'm hoping we will definitely be able to make some improvements to that now that my skill level is much higher than what it was many years ago when I was first starting out on my sewing journey. types of shirts are mostly made from great big rectangles or squares. It's the most productive and economical way of using the fabric. If you haven't got to cut out round curvy seams and lines, you know, it's just easier. So I'm currently just measuring out the sleeve, which again is just one huge rectangle. 90 centimeters of width to give you that amount of fullness. Do not underestimate how much fabric you need to really get volume in these sleeves. Yeah, you need a lot more than you think. So I'm cutting these panel pieces out on the fold, but as you might be able to see, hopefully, although I'd appreciate it's all white on white, instead of folding the fabric over in one piece in half like you would normally cut on the fold so that the folded edge is just down one edge, I've folded it in from side to side here, and that gives me two folded edges down the length. Of course, this does only work if, like in this example, and your pattern pieces are just wide enough to fit in the narrow quarter width essentially of the fabric, which luckily for Mr BLC he is, as you can see. If I butt the edge of the pattern up against the fold there, you can see that I actually have an inch or so, inch and a half spare down the selvage, and the same on the back. For the sleeves, I'm also cheating a little bit, and I'm cutting the pattern across the grain rather than down the grain, mainly because this pattern piece is so big for these sleeves. Again, it's just a more cost-effective way of using the fabric. There's not enough width for me to get 2 pieces out folded in, with the fabric folded in half the other way, so it just works out better for me to do it this way. It's not a problem because it's, you know, it's plain cotton, and the sleeves themselves aren't exactly under a lot of tension or anything like that, so in this instance I don't have a problem with cutting out on what is the wrong grain. So I've started construction with the underarm gussets, which is these 4-inch squares here, and they have just been attached, or started attaching to the back panel, and they are placed just at the base of where the arm side would start. So this would be right under the underarm point, and up here we have the shoulder. And for modern convenience, I have overlocked onto the edge and then carried the overlocking down what will become the side seam. I've also repeated this on the other side. So now I'm going to attach on the front panel piece and incorporate the gusset into that as well. So what I want to do is just do a tiny little nick in there. See there, the mark there lines up with where it's attached onto the back panel piece, so that is good. And so I take this corner and bring it up to line up with that mark, and then I'm going to overlock those pieces together, carry on the overlocking down what will become the side seam, and also I need to just very carefully make sure I don't catch in the back panel piece on at this point here, but it doesn't matter actually, because if I do, because I'm going to afterwards, I will then be seaming these 2 pieces together from that anchor point there. Okay, so that's the side seams stitched up to the underarm point there, or at least the gusset underarm point. The true underarm point is about up here somewhere. So that creates these nice little triangles, which just gives that bit more extra ease and takes some of the tension out from under the arm, where all those seams meet with the sleeves and the side seams and everything. So yeah, so it just leaves a bit of pressure and tension under there. So now I'm going to stitch up the, the shoulders, and then I can start applying the sleeves into the shoulder seams. Oh my god, I can't word today. So this is where I'm up to now. So we have the bodice pieces here. Here you can see the gusset on the underarm, and up here we have the sleeve is in place, attached to the gusset down here, and the seam of the underarm running down to the cuff. And I've left a small vent opening in the bottom of the sleeve seam, and just make it easier to get the sleeve obviously on and off once the cuff is in place. So this is the wrist line up here. This all needs to be gathered up nice and tightly and put into the cuff, and the same goes over here over the shoulder seam. So this is the bodice panel coming up here, that's the shoulder seam. This great big piece up here is the sleeve, so all of this has got to be gathered up to sit nicely over the shoulder and give us our nice big poofy voluminous romantic sleeves. So that is my next job. So we have big poofy sleeves of awesomeness are now attached, and as you can see I have put the cuff on the end, but this now just needs, I've machine stitched on one side, but I'm now going to hand stitch the cuff closed on the outside where the seams will be in the stitching will be visible. So I'll try and do a little bit of hand stitching where possible on here. So I know it's technically it's the undergarment of its time, and you're really not going to see very much of this by the time Mr BLC has his jacket and everything on top. But yeah, it just gives it a bit slightly nicer finish if we just do hand stitching where machine stitching is going to be visible. Just need to baste down by hand the inside of the slit on the sleeve as well, which just gives you a bit more opening kind of flexibility when you're buttoning it up and closing it. And then I also need to, she says she can find it, hand stitch down the front slit for the neck opening as well. And then I need to put these little pieces over the bottom, and that just anchors and gives a bit more support to where that is. The fabric is split essentially, and is cut open to create the opening for the neckline. So we put a little bit of facing on there just to give that a little bit of support, and then it's the collar to go on. So while I am hand stitching, I have the perfect thing to watch. It's for research purposes, I promise. Seriously, oh my god, I can't even speak. I'm so overcome at watching Mr. Darcy in his shirt. No, seriously. As I said, shirts at this time, they're basically your undergarments. You know, so you don't see them, but then you've got your waistcoat, your cravat, your coats and jackets all on top. You don't often see the detail, so it's actually really nice in this shot. Yeah, despite the fact that obviously this is hammed up for TV, you know, to appeal to certain members of the audience, shall we say. Yeah, it's nice that actually you can see the details on his shirt. So you can see the buttons on the front, and you can see where the raw edges are obviously folded back, and where I'm now going to hand stitch to create that same effect. How many buttons he's got. You can see the button detail on the collar, which means I'm going to change the shape of the collar that I patterned. I haven't actually cut it out yet. I want to pattern it again, I think. So yes, I'm going to do that. It's also interesting that actually his sleeves aren't as foofy as I initially thought, but never mind. I'm going with froofy sleeves because I like froofy sleeves, and it's the same pattern that I've used for Mr BLC's previous shirt, and he has no issues with wearing that with his jackets and things. So yeah, I'm not going to change the sleeve style. At the end of the day, this is a more generic, romantic kind of loosely period shirt that's going to work across, you know, a broad spectrum of eras. So yeah, research, promise. finished Mr BLC's blouse. Perhaps. I finished Mr BLC's shirt. And he's not here, and I don't think he could really be prevailed upon to do a getting dressed montage. It's not really his thing, so I thought I might just try the blouse on and just see how it looked. And yeah, it's a little bit oversized on me, but it's freaking cute. Maybe I'll just keep it for myself. No, in all honesty, I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. It's not 100% finished, just Mr BLC is at work at the moment, but when he gets back I'm just going to do a fitting with him on the collar, just so I can assess where the collar needs to button over, or if I need to make any minor adjustments to it. But otherwise, I think it's done. It looks really cute, just worn down like this. But obviously for Regency formal day wear, it has to button up, and he'll have the cravat around it as well. But yes, I'm quite pleased with how it's gone together. It has taken a bit longer than I had kind of anticipated for it, but some of that is doing the extra little hand sewing details and things like that on it. But that makes it worthwhile, just gives it that slightly better finish, and I think it still looks really cute. Yes, yeah, and it especially looks cute with my stays, don't you think? So my next task is to firstly give this shirt back to Mr BLC, and then I can carry on with the rest of his Regency wardrobe that I need to update. The biggest job I have is to make his new frock coat, so wish me luck with that. So I do hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it a thumbs up on the little thumbs up button down below, and if you can, leave me a comment. That's really great for helping my channel out and helping YouTube to push it out to more people. You can of course also subscribe to my channel. It's completely free, and that way you'll be notified when my next video goes out. Coming up, I'm going to be vlogging my adventures to the Jane Austen Festival in Bath, so do make sure you are subscribed, and you will know as soon as those videos go up, because I can't wait to share those videos with you. It's going to be amazing. And also, if you haven't already, do check out my previous videos, such as creating my own Regency ensemble for this series. And of course I'm going to be wearing it at the Jane Austen Festival in Bath. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Take care guys, bye!